Good evening, folks. I hope this finds you all well. Now, in my last two videos, you had the luck to not have to see this and hear this, but all good things must come to an end. Today was the first record fair of the year at Kendal, so I obviously went there and picked up just a few albums. So I thought I'd come on and do a quick show of what I managed to pick up. Now, it was a really good fair this time for cheap stuff. £3 for £5 bin, £3, £5, £7. Nothing here went into double figures, which is pretty good. Apart from one item I'll show at the end. So let's see what I got. First up is this album by John Stewart, California Bloodlines. I have never heard this album, but I've heard really good things about it. John Stewart was an American singer-songwriter with I think a country tinge, folk country. This is his album, California Bloodlines. I think probably his best known album from 1969 on EMI. This was, I think, a £5. But seeing as it's highly recommended, I thought I'd give it a go. Now, the next act, I've only got one album by, I am ashamed to say, and that's Leonard Cohen. I've got a lot of stuff on CD, but on vinyl, only one. So, seeing this, his first album, Songs of Leonard Cohen, which, when did this come out? Let me check. 1967, thought that was the case. This is the album with Suzanne, Sisters of Mercy, and So Long Marianne on it. Excellent album. Don't know why it's taken me this long to get it. On the back you get a nice little message. All my love to Sue on her 20th birthday, Dave XXX. I hope Sue appreciated it, Dave. Excellent, pleased to find that. Next up, from folk singer-songwriters to a bit of heavy blues rock, and here we have Mountain with their album Flowers of Evil on the Island label. This one is half live, half studio. First side is the studio side. Second side has only got 2 tracks, one of which is Dream Sequence, which is 24.5 minutes long, and that finishes off with Mississippi Queen. So, not sure I've ever had this on any format. Looking forward to giving this a listen. Looks like it's a German pressing. There you go. Oops, I'm going to have to censor the next one, I'm afraid. Otherwise I might get in trouble with YouTube. And this is the British sort of hard rock band Boxer with their album Below the Belt. Now, Boxer were in some ways a bit of a super group consisting of Mike Patto of Spooky Tooth and Patto fame, Ollie Halsall, who played with Patto as well, and also did a lot of work with Kevin Ayers, Keith Ellis on bass, who was the bassist in the early days of Van der Graaf Generator, and Tony Newman on drums. So it doesn't get good reviews, this album, but I'm sure with a lineup like that, it'll be listenable. Next up, I was so pleased to find this. This is the second, I think, solo album by Jack Bruce, called Things We Like. Now, this, I understand, is purely instrumental, sort of free jazz album by him, with a stellar lineup of, obviously, Bruce on bass, John McLaughlin on guitar, John Heisman on drums, and Dick Hextall-Smith on saxophones. So, looking forward to giving that a spin. And sticking with the jazz theme, another one I was pleased to pick up, because I've never seen it out in the wild. This is Herby Hancock's Sextant. I think this was the album he did just before Headhunters. It's a long time since I've actually heard this, but I remember really enjoying it. I think it still has that sort of the start of the funkiness that he went on to do with Headhunters. But I think there was, if I remember rightly, it was a very sort of electronic and an ambient sort of album. But it is years since I've heard it. But I was so pleased to pick this up. And this was only £7. Next we have a singer-songwriter, British singer-songwriter, Andy Roberts, who came to prominence with the Liverpool scene, and then has worked a long time with Ian Matthews in the band Plainsong. Also did his own albums. I saw him support Roy Harper many years ago now, both as the support act and as the second guitarist for Harper's set. This, I think, is a compilation album just titled Andy Roberts, and I think it's from 1973, and that incorporates material from, I think, his first two solo albums. Early folk now with Bob Lind and the elusive Bob Lind. Not something I really know about, but I love folk music from this period. And I'm sure this is going to be a good listen. He does a version here of The Times They Are A-Changin', and the old standard Fenario. This, I think, was from 1966. It's an American pressing on Verve. Excellent. Back to a bit of hard blues rocking. I don't know if you can see that. This is the Streetwalkers, Roger Chapman, Charlie Whitney's band with Bob Tench, Nico and John Plotel. This is Red Card. This one's from, when was it released? I wish they made things easy. (1976), and this is on red vinyl. Now this, believe it or not, was in the 3 for £5 bin, and it's a limited edition, number 07103. So I'm happy to pick this up for that price. It looks in good nick. Obviously, the main guys came out of Family, but the sort of art rockiness of Family is missing on these albums. It's pure sort of bluesy rock, but good stuff. bit of what might be described, I think, as power pop, is it? But this is Dave Edmunds and his Tracks on Wax 4. Apart from the Rockpile album, I don't own anything by Dave Edmunds, which is a crime, really. Excellent musician. But this, looking at it, it looks like another Rockpile album in many ways, because apart from Dave Edmunds, you've got Billy Bremner on guitar, Terry Williams on drums, and Nick Lowe on bass, which is the lineup of Rockpile. So I think this is going to be a great bit of fun. This next one I'm not so sure about, but Adrian at the fair recommended it to me. And this is Dick Morrissey and Jim Mullen, who I've heard of for a long time, but never heard anything by. They're obviously jazz musicians. Dick Morrissey's a saxophonist. Jim Mullen's a guitarist. On here, they also have Max Middleton on keyboards and Tony Carr on percussion, among others. I've always been a bit wary of their stuff, with a feeling that it would be sort of, fairly mellow jazz, not in my vein of that I like. But Adrian says this is a good album. They do a Bill Withers song on here, Lovely Day. They do a Mal Waldron song, Soul Eyes, and a Carla Bley track, Dream So Real. So again, for about, this one was a $5, I think. It's got to be worth a go. More jazz with the German keyboardist Yim Kern and his album Spring Fever. This is on the Atlantic label and came out in 1976. This is, like I say, Yim Kern on keyboard, Philip Catherine, the Belgian guitarist who was briefly in Focus, on guitar, John Lee on bass, Gerald Brown on drums. Again, I'm hoping this will be decent jazz fusion. Can only give it a try. Again, this was, I think, in the 3 for £5 bin. Next, singer-songwriter Lowden Way III with his album T-Shirt from 1976 again. I have his album 3, or Third 3, I think it's just called, which is good stuff. He's a good songwriter with a nice sense of humour. I'm sure this is going to be enjoyable. The Everly Brothers with their album Stories We Could Tell. This is from 1972. I think it was one of the last things they did before they split. I've heard good things about this. Looks like they do a version of Green River. Mandolin Wind, the Rod Stewart number. And on here you get people like Bonnie and Delaney, Jeff Moldauer, Wayne Perkins, John Sebastian, Ry Cooder, Barry Beckett, Spooner Oldham, Warren Zevon, Jim Gordon, Johnny Barbata. So good lineup of people on here. Allied with the vocal prowess of the Everly Brothers, I think this is going to be a good album. And finally, the other day I was watching Mr. Baggy Hi-Fi, John's latest video, and he showed an album and played a bit from it that I thought, oh, this sounds good. Never thinking I'd ever see it, but within a few 2 or 3 days of watching that video, what did I find? This is Sir John Betjeman, the famous British poet, English poet, and his album Late Flowering Love, which is him reciting some of his poems over musical backing written by Jim Parker. Now, the track that John played on his video sounded really intriguing. It has people like Clem Catini on drums on here, Dave Olney on bass, Gary Boyle, Frank Ricotti. So if the rest of it's as good as the needle drop that John did, this could be quite interesting. I never thought I'd see this. So it just shows you what a small world we live in. It does have quite a bad, what looks like a bad scuff across the last 3 tracks on side 2. So it might not play that well. We'll have to see, but it was only a couple of quid. So as I'm not likely to ever see it again, probably, I thought I'd give this a go. It's on the Charisma label, is it? I think. Yeah, it's on the Charisma label. So yeah, that was a decent day's shopping. Crate digging. Some good stuff. Like I said, all inexpensive. The only item I paid anything decent amount for was one of the latest CD boxes out of Cherry Red on the Esoteric label. This is Round and Round, Progressive Sounds of 1974. Very similar to the sort of things that they do on the Cherry Red do on the Grapefruit label with their CD box sets. There are 4 CDs in the set. And this, as I say, is the Progressive Sounds of 1974. Now, this series they're doing doesn't feature the obscurities that the Grapefruit sessions usually do. A lot of these tracks I've got on vinyl, on albums, but I just love these little sets. You get things like Camel, Barclay James Harvest, Jethro Tull, Kevin Ayers, Bebop Deluxe, Caravan, Gong, The Strobes, Nectar, Peter Hamill, Budgie, Green Slade, Renaissance, Traffic, Man, PFM, brilliant, Hatfield and the North, Hawkwind, Utopia, Robin Trower, Sensational and Alex Harvey Band. Excellent. And I always get a good deal with these from Adrian. I think he gets them as promo sets. This was sealed. So really pleased to pick that one up. So that's it. I hope to be back with a video again, not in the not too distant future. I've got tons of stuff still to show from pickups last year, and stuff starting to come in this year as well, after a couple of weeks where I wasn't buying anything. And I really need to finish off my krautrock series. It's been about 6 or 7 months since I last did a video. Anyway, take care everybody. Hope to see you soon. Bye.